Since we're in Latin America, we'll start in Latin America. So we're gonna keep it positive, right? And the women are kind of told that you need to give it your all in order to have the best guy possible.
That's right.
That conversation doesn't happen in the West. It's kind of reversed.
Focus, man.
I want to, change the topic a little bit. Everyone wants to hear about the women.
Oh yeah.
So I got to talk about the women. I'm doing it for you. Can you give me maybe 3 examples of different cultures that you've been in where the experience with the women was completely different, or it was just very refreshing to you?
Okay. So since we're in Latin America, we'll start in Latin America. So we're gonna keep it positive, right?
Yeah.
Keep it off.
We'll start off positive.
We'll keep it positive.
We got some room. We could do some more.
We'll keep it positive.
Okay.
So currently we're in Argentina.
Yes.
And Argentina gets a lot of negative publicity, especially in the Black community. And I think that's totally unfair.
Mm-hmm.
I personally have been treated with nothing but the utmost respect here in Argentina by the women. They tend to be very respectful. They treat you very well. They have great conversations. One thing about Argentina is they really love to read. They like understanding a lot about psychology and stuff like that. So you tend to have very good conversations with the women here, which I felt like I never really got back in the States, right? Mm-hmm. States, we kind of keep things very surface level.
Yeah, superficial.
Very, yeah. And in Argentina, you can really dig deep. You can kind of talk about, things that you generally can't talk about elsewhere. So that's probably one of the highlights here. I think the women here are very, at the beginning, they could have a wall up, but once you get past that wall, I think they could be wifey material.
Okay.
Obviously, there's feminism that goes on here in Argentina, but I think once you get past that, they're good quality. I would say probably one of my favorite in Latin America. Okay. And I think a lot of people probably won't agree with me on that one. But for me personally, it's been a great experience. Going over to Europe, I would say Ukraine absolutely blew my mind. Obviously, Ukraine's going through tough times right now, and I think that's more important than what I'm about to speak about. But when I was there, it was before the war, and just in Ukraine, the women are kind of told that you need to give it your all in order to have the best guy possible.
That's right.
That conversation doesn't happen in the West. It's kind of reversed, right?
No.
The man is supposed to give his all in order to have the woman. It's reversed in Ukraine. So because of that thought process, they're going to treat you as like a king, right? They're going to wake up the next morning. They're going to have breakfast ready for you. They're going to wash your clothes. They're going to ask you, is there anything I can do for you? So that was absolutely mind-blowing, right? I didn't get any of that treatment in Latin America, not in the U.S., not in Western Europe specifically.
That's that old school treatment, man.
Yeah, it's
old
very
traditional.
old school. I can't remember, there was a term one used that her mom told her coming up. I can't remember, but it was something along the lines of like, you need to give your all.
There was a phrase, not to interrupt you, but there was this phrase that I heard. I don't remember if it was Russian or Ukrainian, and they said, there's no such thing as an ugly woman, only a lazy one.
Yep.
And I was like, that is such a, such a succinct statement, but there's so much truth in that.
So much truth. It's true. I mean, if a girl is not a whale, I mean, she's not huge, she looks pretty good. I get I've never looked at a girl and said she's ugly. Mm-hmm. Like,
She respects herself. She
Yeah.
takes care of herself. She presents well.
Yeah.
That's 90% of the battle, and beyond the physical, the exterior is the attitude, how she makes you feel. Is she willing to sacrifice? Is she willing to be that support for you?
Exactly.
You know, that can cover up a lot of the other flaws, because a lot of times when a society or when guys are hyper focused on the exterior, it's like, okay, so she met that one parameter. You can check that off. Okay, she's perfectly how I would like her to look aesthetically, but beyond that, everything is off. But all we're looking at is that very first thing, you know.
Yep.
So they look at it the other way, where, you know, even if your baseline, okay, she's never going to be a model, you can still put in all the extra effort in all these other areas to overcome those deficiencies.
Yep, 100%. Facts. So yeah, that's how many was that? I have to do what, 3 or 2?
Yeah, you did 2. You did Colombia and you did Ukraine.
So
yeah.
third, well, obviously, I'd get in trouble if I didn't pick this one. But it's Poland. So one of the things I like about Poland is it's a mix between the East and the West, right?
Yes.
You got the drive of the West, but you get the femininity of the East.
Yes.
So for me, that's best of both worlds, right? Because obviously, people love to bash the West nowadays, especially guys in this space. But obviously, there's some positives, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just like what I mentioned about the U.S. Like we're doing something right.
Yeah,
Something
you want an infrastructure.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be in
Exactly.
the huts in the jungle.
Exactly.
Nobody. You're not trying to be in a cave somewhere.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to turn the light switch
Exactly.
and not have to think, is the lights going to come out on?
Exactly.
You want to be able to drink the water out of the tap.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we got to give credit where credit's due. So that to me is the best thing about Poland, right? It's just a mix of both. They're very, very, very. I'm almost forgetting the word. It's opposite of cocky. Humble. Very humble people. Very soft spoken. Poland has been through a lot in history. Like I was just talking the other day with my girlfriend, just kind of about what they learned in like history class versus like what we learned back in the States. And it's a very like humbling environment that they've been invaded nonstop. Poland is one of the very few European countries that have never colonized any other country in the world.
True.
So it's just a very, very humble culture. And I watch a lot of guys, actually 2 other black guys who spend a lot of time in
In Poland, right?
I'm saying
Poland.
black and Colombia just go together. but they also kind of relay the same message as me. Like they get treated very well there, very humble people, very just like welcoming. Obviously, from like the surface, Polish people can come off as very cold, but that's
because in the States we're used to everyone having fake smiles. People smile for no reason while they're robbing you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or treating you bad, but you know they'll do it with a smile. So
that's
one difference.
Yeah,
in the East.
exactly. So it's just different, but yeah, I'm actually no, I'm not gonna say anything. Remember I told you I don't say anything?
Yeah, okay.
Just in case I end up,
it's all good.
Living in,
It's all good. It's all good.
yeah.
It's all good.
But yeah, that's my 3 experiences. Obviously, there's places like Brazil that's. I'm sure anybody who's watching this video, I'm sure you've seen lots of Brazilian content already. So I don't know if I need
probably
to
on
go
the
into
beaches and bikinis and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So you already know what things look like out there, but
exactly.
you know, as far as the actual relationship side, anything you want to add about that?
We're keeping it positive, right?
We're keeping it how you want to keep it, man.
I mean, if you want to have
we can split it up into the positive and another video, which is
Brazil
separate.
is a great, like, I love Brazilian people. Like, very friendly people,
Energetic.
very outgoing, very energetic. It's a place to have a good time. Like, I can't think of another place on this planet that's more fun than Brazil. Or you can just first day show up and just have the time of your life. Brazil is that place. Would I settle down in Brazil? I would not. Okay, you know what? Let me take that back. Rio, would I settle down in Rio? No, there's too much going on in Rio. Rio it's kind of like you like to separate things in life, right? Just think about the US, for example. There's Miami and there's New York, right? When you think of Miami, what do you think of? Going out South Beach, having a good time. When you think of New York, you think about Wall Street, XYZ, right? So I like to separate things in my life. Rio is like have a good time. I spent 3.5 months in Florianopolis just recently.
That's in the southern part of
Southern part of Brazil. That's the type of place I could settle down in. So I shouldn't ever say I should speak in cities. And I think that's what we all should start doing, is speaking in terms of cities versus countries.
That's very true. Because even, you look at Colombia, Cartagena is very different from Cali.
Exactly.
Medellin is very different from Bogota.
Exactly.
Trust me.
I mean, Alabama from California.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right?
So yeah, it is important to not generalize a country when you're really speaking about a city. And that's another thing about a lot of times when people come to Argentina, if they have one impression of things, it's because they've only dealt with porteños, where things are very different in other parts of the country. If you ever get a chance to travel around to Mendoza, for example, or to Cordoba, completely different day and night, the personalities of the people.